Welcome to another episode of the Crotchety Old Men podcast. Hi, I'm Gary Smith, one of the co-hosts of the Crotchety Old Men. Joining me today in the studio is my main man, George Crumley. Top of the day to you, George.
Hey, Smitty, top of the day. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing amazing.
You are an amazing guy.
That I am.
I think that's what makes our podcast so amazing, because of the fact that no, seriously, the fact that we say that, so many people don't have that attitude. They want to hum it through life. But I think the more you encourage yourself, it allows you to encourage others. So we have to pat
Absolutely.
ourselves on the back, and we have to show that exuberance for life, because that's what it's all about. It's not a ho hum life. It's
That's
what
it.
what you put out is what you get back. So hey, it ain't nothing wrong with being amazing. It ain't nothing wrong with calling it out.
Amen to that. I come from the school that your attitude dictates your altitude.
There you
So,
go. There you
stay
go.
with it. So,
There you
man,
go.
what are we going to talk about today, George?
So, man, I thought we'd talk about something that may seem simplistic, but it's just talking about finances. I mean,
Hmm.
think about this. When was the last time you, in a normal conversation, talked to one of your friends or family members about finances? I'm not talking about going into detail and saying how much money you got in the bank, but asking them about their overall goal for finance, their financial security, or things that trouble them regarding finance, or questions that they may have regarding their own personal finances.
You know, it's unfair to the audience because I'm typically always broaching that because it's in me. It oozes out of me. And so because I always want to share with people opportunities, like yourself, we like to see others do well. But for the totality of the masses, I believe majority of conversations kind of escape around it or skirt around the topic of finances. It's almost like it's a taboo subject of something. And I believe that so many people are guarded about their finances, like holding a closed fist. If you keep your fist closed, nothing can get in or out of it. So we're somewhat of hesitant or afraid to open up and thereby receive information about, hey, something we may or may not known, or maybe a myth that we've carried on for years that may have held us back or continue to hold us back from prospering or improving our financial situation. So I think that's one of the causes, George, is that we fear.
Well, I think it's somewhat inherent, because when I look back, my dad didn't really talk to me about finances. There were a few things that he would mention, but from an overall perspective, I'd see him sitting at his little desk writing out bills and whatnot, and he would just show me what he was doing, but I didn't really understand the whole process that he was going through. But I did take my takeaways was write it down.
Hmm.
That was the whole thing. Was I saw where he had a ledger book where he wrote down all of his expenses. He had his checkbook. He made sure everything balanced. So that was my takeaway, even though it wasn't a long intense conversation of him sitting down and saying X, Y, and Z. It was there viewable, and I learned by as I learned a lot of different things. I learned by watching and seeing, and maybe at that point I didn't know the right question to answer. I think it was later on in life. My older brother was an insurance salesman, and he taught me a lot about insurance, and it encouraged me to buy my first policy, which I'm still benefiting from today. But as it's easier for us to walk up to somebody and talk about what the Lakers did, what the Pistons did, that kind of stuff. But when was the last time, and especially for our young folks, is to talk about things like what are you doing with your 401k? Where are you investing? What challenges do you have? I mean, and like I said, they can be harmless conversations, and you never know how that's going to benefit them, because it allows them to give them some nuggets that then they can go back and do some research on their own.
Wow, that's interesting. As I'm sitting here listening to you talk about your dad, I'm thinking, heck, the first time I even saw a checkbook was the one I own because I got zero. I mean, probably the reason that my family didn't talk about finances because they didn't have any, so there wasn't nothing to talk about. So, but because of my penchant and love for reading and knowing that there's something more than what I was seeing around my neighborhood, around the household, and things of that nature, that's what kind of drove me to the interest of learning more about finances and learning about money, the importance of money, the importance of saving money, and how to spend it. So I say all that to say that I know there's someone else out there like the both of us. Maybe there's not a lot of conversation around the dinner table or a father or mother or someone, a guardian or whoever, to sit you down and say, hey, a penny earned is a penny saved, a penny saved is a penny earned, however that goes. And so to that end, it's imperative, not just important, it's imperative that we have these discussions about finances. Where are you financially now? Where do you want to be 3, 5, 10 years from now? Depending upon your stage in life, what are your plans for retirement? Are you going to work your job from that you have from 8 to 5? Nowadays, that is not even the paradigm to be on a job 30, 40 years. When we were coming up, it was a badge of honor almost to get in there, work, work for 20, 30 years, get the gold watch or whatever, and have a good retirement. Those days are gone. So it's imperative, especially for us as Black people, because we see it all the time that we're supposedly financially illiterate. Well, whether there's truth to that or not, it doesn't have to be that way. And so, George, I'm glad you suggested that we discuss this today, hopefully to encourage other families out there. Hey, let's have that conversation. Okay. What are your goals? What do you want to do? And how do you plan to get
Yeah.
there?
I mean, you said something very interesting. You said, we didn't have those conversations because we didn't have any money. And I'm sure a lot of people are thinking the same thing, even here in 2024. But it's not, how much you make, it's what you do with what you make. And I think once you realize that, it just gives you a different perspective. It was one of the things that I told my son all the time, because that's what he would say that, I didn't really have any money. $5, save $5. Every time you get paid, we've talked about pay yourself first. You know, if you pay yourself $5, if that's all you got, pay yourself $5. Because at some point in time, you're going to get a raise. Now you can raise that to $7. Then you can raise it to $10. Then next thing you know is $15. And then something happens that you have that windfall. But you know what you've already done? You've already developed a habit of savings. And now all you have to do is increase that amount. So that's what it's all about, is developing good habits financially, just like you have good habits for, doing whatever else you enjoy doing. Create good habits from a financial perspective. And I think that's a good start. You don't, because that's one of the things that, misnomers. People think you have to make a certain amount of money to be able to save. No, like you said, penny saved is a penny earned. So it's what you do with the small things, so that when they get large, it's no surprise to you. So it's developing those good habits. So hey, if you don't take anything else away from this podcast today, it's taking away the fact that ask somebody about their finances. See what you can add to that conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely, and then educate yourself too. There's a lot of free information out here. I mean, from periodicals. I mean, Wall Street Journal, newspapers. There's free magazines and stuff. I mean, heck, there's a lot of free information online about finances. Everything from just start saving a savings account to buying real estate, buying stocks, or what have you, 401ks. As you've heard a lot of that on our podcast, but self education, in my opinion, is like self preservation. Okay. Educate yourself, learn the things that you don't know. And if you can't do that on your own, find a mentor or find a financial advisor or sometimes an insurance agent can educate you on the simple foundation. And you've heard it on our podcast before, life insurance.
There you go. There you go. Hey, Smitty, another good podcast. A lot of good nuggets we've hopefully shared with our audience, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So, hey, you got any nuggets you want to pass along?
Absolutely. Here's a quote: hold yourself accountable. Leadership is taking responsibility while others are making excuses.
So well said. Well said. And as we always say on the Crotchety Old Man podcast, hey, if you didn't know, now
Now you
you
know.
know.
All
Take
right.
care. Be blessed. Be
Peace.
safe. Peace.